Hello readers, welcome back to PJL Books. Today, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Kami, specifically the geographical area in which Kami is set. Now, as I've mentioned a few times in the past, I currently live in Japan, and I have been living in Japan for the past 5 years. Now, currently, I live in a city called Saitama City. It's a very urban city, that is the capital of Saitama Prefecture, which is just north of Tokyo. Incidentally, prefectures are the Japanese equivalent of counties. When I first moved to Japan, however, I didn't live in Saitama City, but I still lived in Saitama Prefecture in a small town called Namegawa. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, hang on, Namegawa sounds a little bit familiar, you're right. Town and city names in Japan are usually written in kanji, the Japanese lettering system. And Japanese kanji typically have multiple readings. Now, Namegawa's kanji, which translates as smooth river, also has an alternative reading, and I use that when writing Kami, so it's also called Namerikawa. So if you were to type in Namerikawa into Google, you would actually be looking at Namerikawa City, which is a real city, but in a completely different geographical location of Japan. That happens quite a lot, where you get cities or towns which have the same kanji lettering, but have different readings, so look out for that. The same is true also of Arashizan. Now, Arashizan, if you look at the kanji, can also be read as Ranzan, and Ranzan is the name of the real town that exists in Japan. I didn't change all of them, however. Ogawa is the exact same in Japan. It's known as Ogawamachi, which translates as Ogawa Town, and the mountain, Kasayama, is still Kasayama in real life, and it does indeed look exactly like a pyramid too, so if you ever come to the area, look out for that. Also, there are some similarities and differences between the real life area in which I base Kami and the fictional version. First and foremost, the scale of things and the distance between places. In Kami, I did scale up things to a significant degree. For example, in real life, Namegawa and Ranzan, you can basically walk to very easily, and they exist as a single urban conglomerate. I mean, when I first lived in Namegawa, my nearest ATM was in Ranzan, so I would walk from Namegawa to Ranzan and back to get money. However, in Kami, that's not so. It's a significant distance in between with a large portion of rural area. Kasayama too, the mountain, it's significantly sized up for the novel. Certainly in real life, it's a prominent mountain, and if you were to travel to the area, you would notice that it does stick out as being one of the more significant mountains in that mountain range. However, within the novel Kami, I did size it up significantly so it takes a large hike. Now, why did I take this area of Japan and make it into the world of Kami? Why didn't I make my own fictional version, or take another part of Japan that is more famous, more well known to a wider audience? Well, I could have done that, but for example, Tokyo. I visited Tokyo often when I first came to Japan. It's not too far from Namegawa, but I didn't have that same emotional connection that I was building with Namegawa and the area around it. Could I have written a book that was using neon skyscrapers and huge urban sprawl? Of course I could have, but it wouldn't have been based on my own personal first-hand experiences, whereas with Kami, it is based on my own first-hand experiences, and I feel that the reading experience is much richer for that. For example, when Hayato first visits an onsen, now that language that's used and the way I approached writing that was based around my first experience of visiting an onsen myself. And because of that, I feel that it holds just that little bit more weight than if I'd researched going to an onsen from someone else's experience. I feel that it just holds that little bit more clout, and the reading experience is just that little bit more rich for it, I hope. It's not all fictional, however, it's not all real. Some of the things that I mentioned about the area, apart from the scale, as I've already talked about, I did take a little bit of a creative liberty with. For example, I do set up Namerikawa as being a traditional, perhaps backwards kind of town, I suppose you could say. Whereas Namegawa in real life is nothing like that. It's a small town, yes, but it's also very modern and it's growing. It's very popular with young families, and many of the houses in the area are very modern, very new, and very few traditional houses. So that's one of the differences. Changes such as these are made to suit the plot and the themes of the novel. In this example, it was Hayato's personal feelings towards that of tradition and doing something new with those traditions. So I hope this has given you an idea of where Kami comes from, how it came to be, and some of the things that it is based upon within real life. And I hope that when you do sit down and read Kami, it provides an even richer experience and a greater understanding of where it comes from. And I hope that you have as great a time reading Kami as I did writing it. Thank you very much for listening, and see you next time.